Hi everybody, my name is Doug. Um, I haven't done a video in March, April, 3 months plus ish. Um, I'm sorry for not getting back on YouTube as soon as I would have hoped. Unfortunately, I'm still having difficulties with everything in the. Still trying to fix the mess between my insurance is um, still trying to fight the courts, or not fight the courts, go through the court process, because I'm finding out slowly that it was a much longer process than I thought it was going to be. um but needless to say, um there's some possible penalties that are coming for the main individual that I got my independence back from, and again possibly another individual. I can't disclose names. I'm not going to disclose names because, quite frankly, I don't want to try to give you guys the wrong impression or a different impression of what could happen, and then all of a sudden, I mean, if you guys are familiar with the legal system, either here in the United States or for our international friends around the world, court cases, even the most simplest, it seems, of court cases never go as planned. Just like you see on TV, they get continued. And let me tell you, court cases are never, ever simple. The whole law and order, crime, court, sentencing, it never, ever is that quick. I'm serious. I mean, my original guardianship termination hearing was in January. Okay. Then I had some difficulties getting everything established, switched over, which I still have. And then I haven't even got to the. I mean, I'm still looking at one hearing on the 23rd of this month, and then two other hearings that probably won't end until the end of this year, of 2021. And then, let's be honest, as much money as I'm owed, it may be a long time before A, I get paid, B, I get paid, and one or two individuals, get what they deserve as far as the American legal system is concerned. And quite frankly, even if they are found by the court where I live to be guilty of what they've done or alleged to have done, I honestly don't know, quite frankly, whether it's going to be handled in the state courts where I live or in the federal judicial system in the United States. Because it is a very complex, very complicated, very screwed up case. Let's just put it this way: even Dick Wolf, the creator of Law and Order, would be thinking his brain would be going to goo trying to write an episode around this mess that I'm dealing with still. But let me talk to you for a few minutes about something. Since the last time I talked with y'all, I lost a very, very special man in my life. my grandpa Clark. He passed away from complications of his Alzheimer's disease that he'd had for about 4 to 5 years, possibly more. He lost his battle Sunday, May 16th. And although I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral because of, in my opinion, very prejudiced, stupid, idiotic procedures and a protection order which in my wholehearted opinion wasn't even supposed to be granted, that my brother petitioned the court for, and through shoddy legal maneuvers, it was granted. But that's a whole different discussion for another day. But because of this protection order, whether I believe it was right to be ordered or not, I was not allowed to go to my grandfather's funeral. However, I'd like to thank the good folks at Cutler O'Neill Mile Funeral Home, about an hour away from where I live, for letting me have a private visitation to say goodbye to my grandpa. I appreciate that. But I don't understand why, me being as old-fashioned as I am, and what my thoughts on family is, have totally just gone off the rails. Let me explain. Throughout my videos, I think I have mentioned that I was adopted. I don't know if I've told you this. Please forgive me if I have, and this is repetition. But before I was adopted, rather, my two aunts on my biological father's side, his sisters, they were very heavy users of illegal drugs. And by illegal drugs, I mean every illegal street drug known to sweet Jesus. Everything from heroin to crack to cocaine itself, pot, LSD, PCP, acid, you name it, they did it. They also drank like fish, as did my biological father. When I went home from the hospital July 18th of 1983, my biological aunts, Debbie and Rhonda, they wanted to continue doing their illicit drugs and drinking in the house where I was living. My biological mother, Mama Gardner, told them in no uncertain terms that they are not allowed to do that, especially illicit drugs. Not to mention they weren't even allowed to smoke cigarettes because I was on oxygen. Well, they got mad. And when they got mad, they decided to turn my biological mother in for abuse and neglect. And even though Mama Gardner had backup from the Visiting Nurse Association, a certain individual who, from my understanding, still works for the State Child Protective Services, made sure that the Visiting Nurse Association did not testify on my mother's behalf. Made sure that it was all airtight, no issues, and I ended up being taken by the state. So, went to 2 foster homes. Third one, I went, and it was what everybody thought was my forever home. And it was. And anyway, fast forward, my mom, Sandra, and my dad, Ray, got divorced. My mom met a new boyfriend who later became her husband, and my stepfather. Let's just put it this way. I respect my stepfather a lot, but the things that went on in that house in Illinois, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. The degradation, the belittling, me personally being told I'm a dumbass. The only disability I have is being lazy, etc., so on and so forth. So then, my grandma Clark died, July of 2003. 6 months later, my mom, my stepdad, and my siblings moved out to a farmhouse in the middle of Boone, Egypt. And we live out there for 7 years. No, I lived out there for 7 years. My mom ended up getting divorced from my stepfather. Out of strict respect for Sandra, even though I know most people would agree that she doesn't deserve any, but I'm old school. I'm not going to disclose whose fault it really was, even though I can tell you it's not what she wanted everyone to believe. Let's just put it that way. So my stepfather gets divorced from my mom. He eventually moves to Tennessee. I was not allowed contact with him because it was my mom's opinion that if the kids wanted to contact with who she thought was evil and made her life a living not good situation, then they could just leave and live with him. Yeah. So then my adoptive father dies. And my mom, Sandra, goes into a deep depression. And so 3 years of dealing with that, and me being almost 28 years old and not going anywhere as far as my life and my goals and my dreams, I took off from the farm. I eventually ended up living with my Uncle Daryl. He got me started on the road to independence, if you will. He then, in November of 2016, got arrested for a crime which I will not divulge what he did. My Uncle Daryl then eventually was sentenced to prison. My uncle was arrested late November after Thanksgiving of 2016. My adoptive mom, Sandra, took over my guardianship about 2 weeks later. My mom and I's relationship for the next 2 years, almost 3, went along swimmingly. We had fun, we joked, we hung out. She was my mom, but yeah, I mean, she treated me like a great adult friend, you know, because it was different. It was a different dynamic, you know. But anyways, I got a big back payment from my father, Ray. And that's when things really went south as far as my mom and I's relationship. she decided to see dollar signs in her eyes. And ever so slowly, ever so slightly, every once in a while, she would take money out of my account. And I was none the wiser. So I started fighting for my independence, full bore, excuse me, in July, August, September of 2020. I was told by everybody and their brother I wouldn't win. Pretty much. That was friends with her. My friends and the people that actually knew me thought I might have a chance of winning. And that's when I found out the truth of what she did. And that's why she's in the potential possible legal trouble she's in. But aside from all that, I don't understand why at all. I don't understand how a woman who at 21, 22 years old promised everybody in the world, my nurses, the adoption workers, my grandma and grandpa, everybody who would listen, everybody who she could make them believe that she was always going to be there, always going to take care of me, the whole shebang. But yet, when I did fight for my independence, and then she realized that it might not end well, then she decided to be totally rude. Totally rude, totally cruel. I don't get it. I don't think I'll ever understand it, and quite frankly, I don't know how long it will take me to heal from the stuff that I've had to deal with. It's like I'd already had a really interesting, exciting life from birth until then, and now all of a sudden everything that I thought was true and right and supposed to be the way it was supposed to be got all pulled out from under me like a rug. And I had to pick myself up off the proverbial floor. And now, my whole idea of family, my whole world, if you will, as far as a family, got torn apart. A lot of them still know the truth. Some of them who are more closer to my mom believes everything she says. Thinks I'm the worst thing known to man. Thinks I'm the worst piece of dog manure. And quite frankly, there's quite a few people that will probably still think that when and if she's ever punished through the legal system for what she's done. So let me put this out to everyone who thinks who might be facing a similar situation or has faced a similar situation. Family isn't exactly what everybody thinks it is. Sometimes family is the friends that have your back and you have them. Or in my case, I have more family with my girlfriend Sierra's family than I have the people that ever adopted me. Or 2 of my 5 siblings. But let me tell you, whenever you have any issues, if you're going through issues, not just what I'm going through, but anything like that. If you're a religious person, or if you're not, um, get therapy or whatever, counseling. But if you are of a religious background and have a faith of whatever you have, leave it all up to your God or my God, because quite frankly, He's the only reason, along with a few others, that I am able to stay sane. I will keep you updated after the 22nd. Try to. 23rd of the first court case, and I will hopefully be able to let you know later on what the other court cases are, when they happen, what the outcome of them, and I'll try to keep more in contact with y'all. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your support. Like I said in my last video, if you just happen to come across my page, subscribe. If you like what I like to talk about, or if you like what I say, and you realize I'm not as crazy as some people, like this, subscribe, share it to your friends. Anyway, I need to get some sleep. I'll talk to you later.